What's up, everyone? This is Josh from East West Healing. Today I want to talk about gout. But before we jump in and get started, please like this video. Show us a little support. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button. So every week when we put out a video, which is every single Wednesday, you get notified because you want to get notified, right? You don't want to miss out on this wonderful, great information. Let's jump in. So gout. They say, the medical community, the functional medicine community, they as everyone says that gout is a uric acid issue from eating too many foods that are high in purines. I say, that is wrong. You have your blinders on. You're looking at the body and the physiology like this. You got to take your blinders off because everything when it comes to health is about cause and effect. We love as humans to not take responsibility for our health. We love to blame food. It's so easy to blame food and say, I didn't cause this. It's food's problem. Let me just change it and everything's going to go away, and cut things out and restrict things and create this fear-based way of eating. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, right? They say it's a purine issue from or a uric acid issue from, eating foods that are too high in purines. I say it's an iron overload issue. What? What are you talking about? Or an anemia issue, which is the same thing. Let's talk about it. So one of the many places you recycle iron through the RES system, the reticular endothelial system, jump in, do your research, it's there, is the liver cells, the hepatocytes, right? And there's kind of three doors to recycle iron from the cells into the blood. And if we don't recycle it into the blood, where does it go? In the tissues. So you'll see low iron in the blood, which means high iron in the tissues. This can be sometimes called anemia. Sometimes this is called copper toxicity. But really what it is an iron toxicity from a copper deficiency, ceruloplasmin deficiency, or I should say a retinol deficiency. So here's how it works, and I've talked about this many times. You need bioavailable copper, which is ceruloplasmin, to activate those three doors. Those three doors are enzymes, hephaestin, ferroportin, and peroxidase, or hephaestin, ferroxidase, and ferroportin. And they all are copper-dependent enzymes. You need ceruloplasmin to open those doors to recycle iron, turn it from ferrous, dangerous, ferric iron, and get it into the blood, right? It's like packaging, UPS trucks to get the trucks to go to the road, which is the blood. So if you don't have copper, you can't activate those enzymes, you can't recycle iron from ferrous to ferric, and you can't get into the blood. You have anemia. Other side of the seesaw is high iron in the tissues. You see this as maybe a copper excess. It's really a copper deficiency, which means low ceruloplasmin. Copper is stored in the liver. Why? Because that's where it's loaded via retinol through the TTR protein into ATP 7A and B, right? So we can produce or metabolize ceruloplasmin, it's bioavailable copper, right? This bioavailable copper is used to produce energy, activate oxygen, copper-rich antioxidants, but it's used to recycle iron and many other things. So if we don't have it, because we're not eating retinol-rich foods, we're not eating whole food seed-rich foods, we're not eating and living in a way to support iron recycling, we end up with gout. Why? Because bioavailable copper ceruloplasmin deactivates xanthine oxidase. Interesting, right? Why? Because copper activates oxygen to produce all these antioxidants, which creates this nice environment. Not a perfect environment, but a nice environment. We can recycle iron. We can kind of prevent all this oxidation, put out the little fires with a fire extinguisher when we need to, which is our antioxidants, and we live a nice, healthy life. But if we're not recycling iron because we don't have enough bioavailable copper, and because we're not eating and living in a way to support iron recycling, what happens? Iron doesn't get recycled into the blood. It builds up in the tissues. Iron activates xanthine oxidase, which causes the increased production of uric acid, which causes gout. It's that simple, my friends. It's an iron recycling issue. It's not a purine issue. It's not even a uric acid issue. It's an iron recycling issue. Now, what do we do? How do we fix this? Well, it's a process, because really what you're seeing is a big forest fire. We're seeing a 500,000 acre forest fire. That's what gout is. So it's not just eat retinol-rich foods, you're going to get better. Yes, that's a piece of the process. And of course, a lot of this is very, very, very personalized So I'm just giving you the YouTube version of it, of course. If you need help, put your questions in the comments, or even, click the link in the description to sign up for a free consult so we can talk about working together one-on-one. But the first is stopping the things that are affecting iron recycling, which is glyphosate, GMO foods, chelates copper from the body. Getting rid of iron supplements, D supplements, calcium supplements, zinc supplements, all these affect iron recycling through copper metabolism. Stop eating foods with high fructose corn syrup, which affects iron recycling. And the list goes on. Some medications, birth control pill, a lot of medications affect iron recycling. I'm not saying go off them, but we have to stop before we can support iron recycling. And the biggest is stress. We have to begin to manage our stress levels in our life, do things a little bit differently, focus on what's working for us and against us, so we can make the changes and meet our needs, so we can de-stress the system. Because we de-stress the system, what do? We stop the production of metallothionein, which binds copper. So now we're keeping more copper in the system. And you can use our RTN method, you can learn more in the description, to eat in a way to de-stress the system so you stop the chelation of minerals. This is the first step. If you're not doing that, don't take any supplements to support iron recycling, right? Don't think about donating blood. Don't think about doing any of that, right? You have to stop all the barricades first. Get rid of all the synthetic supplements. Eat in a way to support the system, right? Get copper-rich foods like organ meats and shellfish and things like that. Get retinol-rich foods like fatty fish and dairy and eggs and organ meats. Get whole food C-rich foods like a lot of different fruits. Why? Because whole food C, not ascorbic acid, but whole food C contains an enzyme called tyrosinase, which stimulates the liver to produce ceruloplasmin, which is bioavailable copper. And this is part of our RTN method, but when you begin getting these foods, after you've taken away all the roadblocks, you can support iron recycling. And it takes time. It definitely takes time to get there. It's not like you're going to start eating sardines or herring or salmon, or fatty fish or eggs or dairy or copper-rich foods and organ meats, and you're going to get better overnight, right? Of course, along the way, some people need a little bit of clean cod liver oil from Rosita to get that extra A. Some people need desiccated liver to get that extra copper and retinol to metabolize, but not until the food foundation is there. And then down the line, this is more in depth. I'm not going to talk about it. Some people actually, once the foundation is there, once they've built up the minerals in the system, they need to work with some iron chelation supplements and even blood donation to start desaturating the tissues and getting or dumping iron out of the system once the iron recycling system is working. So if you got questions, put them in the comments. Always, thanks for tuning in. I'm out.